Here is one from Search Engine Land. Interesting title. If SEO is rocket science, AI SEO is astrophysics. I mean, they're not wrong on that from a certain degree. I've never thought SEO was rocket science personally. I mean, I've also been doing it for 25 plus years, so I
Right.
don't think it's right. It's not rocket science, but it's and AI SEO or generative engine optimization, it's more complex. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what they're trying to allude to here is so you're layperson. When I say layperson, I mean you're non-marketer, maybe business owner, right? Um, might understand some of the basics for SEO, but there's still a lot of things that they don't understand, right? Or can't really understand. Like for instance, to do well in traditional modern SEO, you still need to do everything technically correct. You still need to have great content that resonates with your audience. You need to build an authority over time. You need to build your brand up over time. And you need to market your business many different ways. We've been saying that exact thing at least 15, 20 years. We've been saying that at Brick Marketing is you have to do well in SEO. You need to be able to market many ways. I mean, we see it, proof of it, over and over and over, repeatable. Our clients that do webinars and maybe have gated and ungated content that they're promoting and are involved in industry conferences, trade shows, events that do a lot of like public speaking or contributing to other sites and have partnerships with other companies that invest in their branding efforts, that have an email marketing program set in place, have a content marketing strategy that's set in place, have a social media actual strategy that consistently that's sent out. Those organizations, generally speaking, do very well in SEO because they're marketing their businesses many ways. So that's when I say, your typical, lay person, business person may not understand that. Man, they just may say, oh, it's just you make some code, you make some changes, you build links, the old school. That's what they think of. And we're going to get good rankings, which that's not even in the realm of what we look at these days. AI SEO and GEO takes that and kicks to a whole nother level because essentially now you're looking at the technical things, but you're also looking at how content is positioned, how your business is perceived at all these places that are public internet, like you always say, Catherine, public internet,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's truth. And
Mm-hmm.
then citations built on top of that. Citations, what are citations? Nothing more than marketing your business, which is the same thing goes for SEO, but they're different places. What's going to drive traffic, maybe organically help on the SEO side, may or may not help on the GEO side, on the AI search side. So that's where I think so. And on top of all that, as I mentioned before, a lot of the tools are still primitive in nature for GEO and AI search. They're not advanced like they are in SEO. They're getting a lot better. And we test all of them. We use all of them for our clients. So anyway, Catherine, what's your thoughts on this one?
So what strikes me is the title. If SEO is rocket science, AI SEO is astrophysics. But look at it. Both of them are similar disciplines and kind of relate to space.
Right.
That to me is a good point. They're very similar, but the fundamental structure of each is somewhat different.
Right.
And there's some overlap. There is overlap between SEO and AI search in the way that they get information. The whole notion of composing an article for SEO that is keyword driven, that's actually not been a relevant thing for SEO for a long time. So I
Right.
feel like SEO has actually been edging for content to perform well that in character looks very similar to content that performs well getting found in AI search. So there are some similarities here, but the fundamental ways that both retrieve data, as we all mentioned previously, it's different. And that's
Right.
something to keep in mind as we think about the similarities and differences between the two, because they're both relevant. We have to account for both these days
Yeah.
because they're
And,
both
and
there.
honest, I agree. And my advice, honestly, is for brands. And again, this is not
Mm-hmm.
us trying to sell someone anything right here, but if you have an existing SEO presence and you're doing well organically and you have for a long time, maybe you do it yourself, maybe you do it internally, maybe you have an agency you're working with, maybe you have an in-house marketing team, whatever the case may be, and you want to do well, which you should, in GEO and generative engine optimization, hire a professional to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that is your current agency. If your current agency doesn't offer GEO, find a new agency. It's my opinion. If your in-house marketer doesn't have that skill set, there's only so much you can learn by reading all these just fantastic publications online and listening to people like us talk about it all the time. You need to do it. And so you either, if you have an in-house marketing team, you either take your in-house marketing team and send them to a training, a professional, not just one, but
Mm-hmm.
multiple professional trainings to learn different disciplines of doing this, or hire a third party to do this, and fill this hole, that you can't handle internally. That's my advice. Again, that's not a plug just for us. We would love to help you, but it's not a plug just for us, because what you don't want to do is, again, AI search is just such a small market share of traffic. You don't want to do all this work, invest all this time and resources in experimenting to then have it derail your established SEO presence. And now you're really losing. Not only you're losing on the SEO side, now you're losing because now you have no visibility in either. You're not doing either well. So that's just my advice. So John, what's your thought? I want to get your take on this.
Yeah, I think that the title, especially, is being very hyperbolic. Um, but I do think that the difference at this point between SEO and AI SEO or GEO is that right now SEO is for the most part solved, right? Like you have specific ways of doing it that you've been doing for a while. Sure, things change every once in a while, whether the algorithms on your engines want to change, but you have a baseline for it. I think it's more like we're just kind of where we were with SEO 20 years ago, just now with AI, right? You have to figure it out. And I think that's why people are seeing it as astrophysics, right? I don't see it as that different. I mean, maybe AI might be harder to get a rein on just because it isn't predictable. Um, but I think that, I understand what this author is trying to say. I just think that maybe just give it some time and then maybe they'll both be rocket science and not one like crazy above, or
Mm-hmm.
Right.
maybe one's cooking a steak or something and then
Mm-hmm.
instead of rocket science. I don't know.
Gotcha. Interesting take. Interesting take.
Mm-hmm.